Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday, because today is Thursday. And we have another Kettle One Botanical Spritz Society class for all of you today. And today we got both Tiffanie Barriere and Keyatta Mincey Parker to come and talk to us about spring gardening and spring garnishes. These things go hand in hand, much like Tiffanie and Keyatta go hand in hand. And y'all, it's finally spring. I know y'all have got to be just as tired of all this cold weather as I am. And we have so much to look forward to. Things are growing, which means we get to pick them and then use them in our drinks, which is super exciting. So stick around. We've got a lot of hot tips and tricks for anybody who's looking to grow something or use something to garnish a drink, which I feel like could apply to all of us. If you do have any questions that come up during the program, please drop them into the Facebook comments so that we can get them answered for you. If you do ask a question and it doesn't get answered today, never fear, because Tiffanie and Keyatta will be doing an Ask Me Anything on the Portland Cocktail Week Instagram page on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And any questions that we don't get to today, we'll get to them then. So without further ado, Tiffanie, Keyatta, thank you so much for being a part of the Spritz Society, for being here today, for helping us all live our best and most green lives. So take it away.
Hey. Hey, it's spring. Finally, the spring solstice is
save us,
here.
Spring. Save us.
Oh my goodness. There's nothing like seeing life grow from the ground.
It's nothing like seeing sunshine on and feeling it on your skin. That's good, right?
Yeah, you can do that definitely outside. So it's really nice that we're in this time and we can see things flourish like ourselves, flourish through a different season, different times, and cocktails.
Always cocktails.
Always cocktails. We're happy to be here. We're stoked. We're actually close to each other, which hasn't happened. Well, unless we're in the garden, which we're still a lot away when we're in the garden.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be together and share with you all what we've been doing. I said you all. Okay, y'all.
But even still, the whole grass to glass thing, we've been talking about this for so long. We've been really wanting to do this, and it's so exciting we have to actually do it. Because we've been talking about this for so long. Been talking about this for a while.
Yeah, Keyatta and I became friends years ago.
When she stalked me,
we became friends in a anywho, it was a cocktail competition. She was amazing. I loved her, and I asked her to be my friend. And look at her, she's my friend. But
I thought it was weird because she literally asked me. She was like, "Can we be friends?" I was like, yes.
I mean,
and then she asked me to be her best friend, and I was like,
okay. I had a circle, yes, no, or maybe.
I totally get it, though. I stalk both of you for friendship, so I totally understand.
I love being stalked. It shows that you care. I get attention.
Silliness.
I've got plenty of attention for both of you because y'all are both so smart and do so much to share all of the work that you put in daily, whether it be with the drinking coach or with A Sip of Paradise for Keyatta, with all of us. And I know that through kind of following along on this garden journey with you, Keyatta, and Tiffanie, especially all of the beautiful pieces of history you create and put into the world for all of us to get acquainted with how some of our favorite drinks came about and who's behind those drinks. You've both done us all a great service. So I'm very excited to get into the grass to glass, let's grow this stuff, let's figure out how to use it and how to take care of it after we get it out of the ground so we can use it. I am hopefully going to have a yard at some point in the near future, and I am taking a lot of notes because I want to grow things.
I believe in you. You can do this. I believe in you.
That's all the validation I needed. So
awesome.
Perfect. Well, let's pop these slides up and
let's
talk
get
about
this thing started.
Let's get into it.
Oh, that's mine. Okay, yeah. So plan, and plan again. I cannot stress this enough. I feel like if people take time to plan everything, map your ideas out, no matter how they sound to you, if you express them and plan it out, you have to think about it. Think about how big your garden's going to be. Think about where your garden's going to be. Think about how much money you want to invest into this thing. Think about how much time you're willing to put into it. Because even though it's something for you, if you put the effort into planning it out, I think it works out better. Like, who knows, you may be somewhere in New York and just have a tiny apartment and you can only do something on your windowsill. Perfect. That works for you. Or you may be in a building with a co-op and you may be chatting with random people and you may be able to figure out something for your rooftop. Or you may be like me, you may have been blessed with the opportunity to get a quarter of an acre of land and other projects, and you can map the whole thing out, but you have to actually plan. And I'm not a planner. I'm more of an organic person.
She's not a planner. She doesn't plan.
I've had to learn to plan. I really had to learn to plan things out, and you get better results that way. Yeah.
I love this advice because I love to plan. So that's my favorite thing to do. It's when the doing it comes around that I sometimes get a little lost.
Right?
The planning is my favorite part. So, okay, I feel like I have this step down. So I'm ready for the next thing.
Yeah, I want to just, planning it is an idea for sure. You have this idea, just follow through with it. So once you plant it in the ground, then you just have to let, time take its course. So plan. We don't like to plan. I don't like to plan. She doesn't like to plan. But we want to see our babies grow. So you have to do it. You have to.
Got to get out there and get it done, y'all. So you can have some plans.
Get it done.
Perfect. So I know, just for everyone watching, I obviously got to see the slideshow beforehand and it's awesome. But we're kind of going back and forth here from like how to grow the things and how to use them. So as we go through this class, you might notice that we're bouncing back and forth a little bit, but all of this stuff goes together very well. So I want to keep your eyes on here.
It's funny you say that because we're together, but we bounce around a lot. So that's clearly why this slideshow is what it is.
And that's why it makes sense because
you have to have a little bit of balance, but you also have to have a lot of energy when it comes to gardening and being present for the babies that are growing from the ground. So next slide, let's get into this thing.
Boom.
Fresh is the best.
Yes.
First of all, it sounds great. Like it only makes sense.
It rhymes.
There's no question behind fresh is the best. I think that's going to be our t-shirts for us Paradise coming up for paraphernalia plug.
Mm-hmm.
But fresh is the best. Like there's nothing that we have that isn't the best when it comes from the ground. And when we start off with fresh ingredients, it just allows you to get the full flavors, color, flavor, and taste to the herb, the fruit, the flower at its very best. When you pick it, you're taking it from the ground. I have to be honest with you, when I first started gardening, which was years ago when I was growing up, but I used to get a little sad that I was taking it from the ground. And I was like, no. And Keyatta can attest to that. Our first year at SIP, I just let things sit there because I was like, look at my garden. I don't want to touch it. Like, it just looks so amazing. My tomatoes are great. My parsley, all the things that I want it to be. But I had to realize that I was a good plant mama and I did the right thing. And I got to take my plant babies home so they can be who they want to be. And
and their purpose. You have to use them for their purpose. Like they're being grown for the purpose of giving to you, and they've given their time and their life for you. And fresh is best.
Fresh is the best.
Don't let it sit there. Take it for what it is, and they thrive better when you pick them.
Yes, that's something that we've learned in my past, and even in the garden. If you've started, or you're just trying to figure out what to do, they're at their best when they have made to their maturity. So the tomato that's looking really great, the parsley that's just gorgeous, the mint that's gorgeous and big, it's ready to go. It's gotten to its largest space. So you want to pick that right when it's there so that it doesn't either get scorched by the sun or the squirrels don't get them. We'll talk about that later.
Squirrels.
Or anything else doesn't want to come and eat your plant babies. So picking them fresh.
It allows more to grow. Like when you take that, it allows others to come through.
Yeah.
So just at the peak of freshness for the enjoyment of your cocktail, your mocktail, your whatever, it's best to tackle it at its freshest thing. And honestly, even when things are getting mass produced, they're picked at their prime or right before their prime, so it can still be ready for you when you're ready for it.
Circle of
life.
You know you want to sing it.
I always want to sing that song, so you don't have to persuade me. But you all heard it here first. If you have put all of this time and energy and love into growing something and it's bearing its fruit, it's doing it as a gift to you. And if you don't take it and use it for something you enjoy, the squirrels will. So get in there and take that tomato. And you enjoy that tomato.
Yes.
If you don't, a squirrel will really enjoy that tomato. So use it. But if you wind up with like more than you need, if you got some time, you want to check it out after this class. I know Keyatta did another class with Kettle One Traditional. We're botanical today. Last year, where she talked a lot about ways to preserve things, so that when you do take them fresh out of the ground, you eat as much of it fresh as you can, or use it in your cocktails. But then you can do all kinds of cool stuff, like make teas or jellies.
Cool
all kinds
vinegars,
of
oils, all these super things. We've had so much fun, but we're getting sidetracked. We'll get to all those things.
It's hard not to get sidetracked. This is such a fun topic, but I agree with you. Okay, so what's next? We know we need to use fresh stuff. It makes our drinks taste better.
Okay, this is a very important one. Information overload. Oh, that's me. Yeah, so I was randomly at the store buying stuff, and I wasn't sure what to buy. But information overload. So we are in a time of information. There's so much information out there, but what do you trust? Do you listen to the neighbor that has been studying this their whole life? Do you listen to the farmer who's been doing this their whole life? Do you watch YouTube videos? Like what, it's so much information out there, and it can get overwhelming. So I think the biggest way to combat that is to really sit there. First, you got to figure out where you are and focus on where you are, because information for, like, say, New York, Minnesota, and Atlanta is totally different. These are totally different playing fields, and all that information may not necessarily translate. The soil may be this, or, this, these things may not grow as well as they would here because the zone is different, like all these different things. And it can lead to a meltdown. It really can. I know I've had multiple meltdowns, and I know I'm a crier, but I'm a Cancer. Is that what we do?
Yeah, that's what we do.
We cry.
It's okay to cry. And you're looking at something grow, so there are emotions involved. You want something. You
did that. It's yours.
So you want something to grow, and people have that quick cliche to go, I kill everything.
Yeah.
Things are supposed to die.
However, it happens. It's this whole circle. But the main thing is that just don't take in all the information. Take in the information that makes sense for you and for what you're doing. That's where the planning comes in point. Because if you're planning and you have, like my daughter. So my daughter, James, she is 18, getting ready to graduate from graduate from high school, go to college, baby girl. And she's really obsessed with succulents. That is her thing. She loves them. She thinks they're adorable. And that is her focus. So all her energy is focused on maintaining the few succulent plants in her room. She's not worried about planting other things, trying to get into the ground, make it grow. And her focus is that thing. So if you focus on what you plan to do on, that will help you, because again, the information's everywhere. And then some of the information is not necessarily accurate, because I can tell you right now, if you go to Wikipedia, and then even any Yahoo can hop on YouTube or whatever and have these videos and call themselves all these different things, as opposed to someone who's been trained and groomed to do these things. Just trust the source, realize where you are, and take the information for what it is. If it doesn't apply to you, don't get bogged down with it.
I think that's such good advice too, but like with anything, whether that's like planning a party or planting a garden or like whatever.
Or studying cocktails, building a bar, building a menu, just you have to focus and realize where you are and understand that part, I think, because it's so many times people do so many other things for other people as opposed to doing them for themselves. It doesn't make sense. And it translates that way. Like you can look at somebody's menu at their restaurant and be like, I wonder who put this together. I don't think they did this for themselves or the core of what this is. I think they kind of just did this to please whoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and the like limiting information thing too, right? Because like you can really only effectively implement like so many things at one time. So like when you are planting your garden, this is how this is my approach, mostly because I've heard Keyatta say this to me a million times. go on the internet and look up your hardiness zone, because it will tell you what will grow there
Exactly.
and then like just like pick what you want and start there. Like, you don't need to watch every video about gardening that's on YouTube, because you're just going to end up confused, and then you're going to be watching videos instead of planting. So,
and then you're having meltdown, and then you're going to lose sight of why you even wanted to do this. You're going to get discouraged, and it's overwhelming, especially now in the time that we're in. People have time; they're sitting at home, and all the information's there. Like, you get boggled into all the information. You get stuck.
Yeah, and if you're just like taking in information, then you're not using any of it to plant that garden. And you gotta go plant that garden, baby. Get out there.
Go plant that garden.
Get it.
Get your babies together.
All right, so we need to make a plan for gardening. We need to make a plan about what we're doing, and we need to be really careful not to get too bogged down in a bunch of details that don't necessarily apply to us, or that may be like 10 steps ahead of where we are. And we need to look up our hardiness zone, because if you don't plant something that grows where you live, it's not going to grow. So it's not going to grow. And then on our garnish side, we got to use fresh stuff. Fresh stuff is delicious. It makes our drinks better. Okay. So now we're going to move into what to do with all of your harvest when you get it out of the ground before it goes into your drink. So Tiffanie, give us the deal. What are we supposed to do?
Storage. Put that baby in a good place. So here's this thing, coming from the ground. It's been growing in dirt and sun and love, protecting itself from squirrels and birds and dogs, and now it's time to be its favorite thing, the best that it can be for you. And now we have to figure out, what do we do with it? You may grow something that grows very fast. If you're growing something like onions, if you have a savory palate, onions grow very, very fast. Cucumbers grow very fast. But you'll notice in your gardening, of course, knowing your zone and knowing your water, something will grow really fast. And you're like, what do I do with it? How do I start? You want to get glass jars. You want to instantly, pick from, if it's a flower, of course, pick from the bottom of its flower. If it's an herb, you want to try to catch it right on the dirt, so you can let some more of that herb grow. And if it's a fruit, you want to pick it right off the vine and keep it going. And then once you have said fruit, herb, or a spice herb, then you've got to figure out, what did I plan to do? Back to the planning. What did you plan to do with the chamomile you grew? What did you plan to do with the mint? What did you plan? So glass is amazing.
It is.
Glass is your best friend. Glass loves you. Glass is here to keep you clean, here to let you see everything that's growing, because, again, you're taking something from the ground into your own natural world, and it doesn't have its same root in loving from the ground. So once you're figuring out what you're doing with it, put it in glass so you can see how much air is getting into it. Is it suffocating? Is it getting brown too quickly? Is there mold happening? If you're pickling, if you're making a shrub or a syrup, but whatever you're doing, put it in glass. Tin is just as good. You can't see all the way through tin, but tin does keep things nice and cold. And glass and tin are easy to clean. I definitely suggest glass is better, because you can actually take that herb out, wash the herb where it is, clean out the glass, and put it back in.
Exactly. The reusable focus of using that again.
Yes.
You want to keep using things. And also, glass is one of the few materials that doesn't transfer smell, if that makes sense.
Not at all.
Exactly. Unfortunately, plastic does that, and I'm sure people know that, especially from having leftovers, because I know every time I go to my mama's house, I take my Tupperwares. It's, whatever. But that smell, the smell will keep going, and it could corrupt your plans and what you're doing. Glass is one of the few materials that can actually keep that in there, and it won't transfer and corrupt other things, if that makes sense. It's a little bit more expensive, but I think it's worth the challenge for that.
I am here for this glass championing, because as someone who's born and raised in Alabama, I have, there's not a time in my life that I can't remember just about everything coming in a mason jar. And my mama had used for something else, and now it's where your tea goes,
Absolutely.
And I know that like kind of with the, I guess, rise in popularity of the like, you know, like more rustic vibes for like events or parties or whatever, people got a little like, can we just like stop with the mason jar? The answer is we cannot stop with the mason jar.
Never.
You heard it here
Never.
first. You heard it here first. No
Never.
stopping with the mason jar. It's good for your stuff that you just picked. Keeps it fresh, keeps the water at the right temperature. You can see if anything that is not good is happening with it. And that actually ties into one of Tiffany's tips later in the slide, but I'm not going to give it away because we still got 2 more on this slide.
Yeah, mason jars are everything. They're, I think, way more affordable than plastic. They're, of course, easy to clean, as we've said. They have a lid on them, and they're multi-purpose.
You can use them as shakers. Fun fact.
And they're multi-purpose. So let's get into that. If you're doing dehydrated or dried garnishing, you know, we all like it, something super pretty that's dehydrated. It definitely makes our cocktail look a certain, I don't know, there's a curve to a dehydrated cocktail that makes you go, that's
fun fact.
cute.
So 2 years ago, Tiffany's mom got us, like, so Tiffany's mom gets us Christmas gifts. It's so funny. One year she got us all flasks. It's so funny. One year she was like, y'all need to get y'all garnish game together. And she bought us a dehydrator.
My mom bought us a dehydrator.
There are so many parts of this that I love. I love that Tiffany's mom looked at you and Tiffany, 2 of hands down the best bartenders I know, and said, you need to get your garnish game together.
Oh, mommy gets us together all the time.
She doesn't play these games.
I also love that she bought you a joint gift, like someone would get from their in-laws or something.
We go together. We are completely work wives, and it's like that. Yes, mom did do that. So I've got like a 6-tier,
6-tier
dehydrator. But if you are dehydrating, which is super fun, do a little bit of research on what you are dehydrating so you know your settings and know the purpose that you're dehydrating this said fruit. If you want to put bitters on it or you want to soak it in whatever you're thinking in your amazing scientific bar minds, then think about it and then let the air and naturalness take its course. Candying also is really fun. But when you're doing that and you are putting it and storing it and you are labeling it, which is next, put some wax paper in between that baby. Because how many times, I know we're closed right now, but how many times have you been digging for this garnish with your tongs and you're shaking and rattling and you're not getting the best of your garnish, especially when you've cut it and you've seen this fruit, herb, or a spike flower come from the ground to your home, and now you made it all pretty and you dehydrated, and then after dehydration it just cracks and falls apart. So when you just layer your glass jar with wax paper, everything will have its space to be a happy smile garnish. It just makes it worth the work that you've done, whether it's for the guests or for you. It looks good, and we love to eat with our eyes, especially when it's something from the ground. Like it's like, ooh.
And I feel like that ties so much into the idea, right, of growing things to consume in some way, right? So whether you're eating them or putting them in a cocktail, like you're putting in all this work at the front, and then at the end, it's like, this is amazing.
Exactly. Why put in all that work and then you don't have nothing to show for it?
So if you're using like a little mason jar or whatever kind of glass container, and you cut your wax paper into squares, and it may be maybe take you a few more minutes at the front, but then during service, you're just like, done, 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 done. Look at these great drinks.
We love consistency. We love consistency. You don't want to, you can't get brag rights if that one's broken or you've actually wasted the product. So that just kind of, it's boring. It's sad. Yeah. We don't want that to happen. And then, of course, label everything.
And
everything was born with a name. Everything has a birth certificate. I call every recipe that I write, it has a birth certificate. It's the ingredients, the portions, and a name. And that goes the same for your garnish game. Give it a name and a date and rotate, my friends. Rotate, because who's on the bottom just may not make it to the top. So you want to just give her a chance, or him, or they, them, a chance to be who they are. And so be sure to label and rotate everything. It's helpful for you. It's helpful for who's coming behind you. It's helpful for the guests. It's just helpful in general in your beautiful refrigerators or cabinets or whatever we're doing right now.
And you know, the health department, if they pull up on you,
that part,
you know, they might
and it's the law.
Yeah.
In addition to just being a good practice, it's also like
it saves the law. You want to do that.
So do that.
do that.
And even honestly, as much as you think you're gonna remember, nah, bruh, don't do yourself like that. Just because I can tell you right now, there's so much stuff in my freezer right now. Like, what the hell is up? And then you open it, you smell it, and then you're like, okay, no, okay.
Well, and it's like
yikes, indeed.
You remember everything until you're in the service wall and there are 15 tickets. You know,
exactly.
So like if you just take care of it beforehand, then you can power through that service well and make sure everybody has a beautiful garnish that is as fresh as it can be. All right, so we got freshness, we've got storage, we've got planning, we got knowing your zone and tuning out the noise. So what is next on our gardening and garnish journey?
Be creative. There are no rules with this thing. So if you look at the picture, so the one with the pineapple and the rainbow sign is actually Tiffany's, one of Tiffany's plots. Tiffany actually has 2 plots. So that was her little pineapple. So many people told us that, oh my God, you can never do this. Why would you want to do this, such and such and such? And of course, us being rebels, you're not going to tell me what I can't do, sir, or ma'am, or
Absolutely.
You know, whoever. So Tiffany actually grew that. But to one of her disadvantages, she didn't want to pick it. So unfortunately, it kind of grew and then it kind of went back into the ground. But we know for next year. And then also, like, if you look at the picture below, one of my members, Sadia actually, we put a walking path through her plot. She had one of the larger plots. So it was something so people didn't step on her peppers and all her other stuff that she was going. She put a little walking path in there. And then on the side over there, that is Natalie Burks. Natalie had what we call the pizza pie slice. So Natalie put all these things, and Natalie comes from a whole family of growers and gardeners. Her mom does it. It's something she's grown up doing and she loved. And she took her pizza pie and she just put all these beautiful things in there. And it was just the greatest feeling that you can do whatever you want. And I'm really excited to see what my growers do this year, especially one of my VIPs and MVPs, Greta. Greta last year had a plot that was kind of based off of The Nightmare Before Christmas. She had this tree stump and she had these jewels on it and it was cool. And I was actually in the garden yesterday and she planted a bunch of daffodils around. And then she also put in a little water fountain, which is super cool. So everybody is almost like, okay, we got to keep up with Greta. But, you know, you can do whatever you want. And honestly, you can grow in jars, you can grow in containers, you can do whatever you want. It is your space, you know. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, you've learned a lesson and you can just do a thing. But don't feel like you have to have this perfect traditional situation, because you can if that's what you want. Because some people structure and some people work well in those bubbles. I personally like to fly by the seat of my undies. That's when I wear undies, but that's hey, we all family here. So
family show.
Family, but we're okay. That was forgive me, everyone. Hey, but I like to fly by the seat of my pants. Is that better? So I kind of like to wing it.
You fly by the seat of whatever you want to, Keyatta. We're,
you know,
whatever seat you're flying by is working so far. So
at least there's a seat, honey. Look, at least she's got a seat.
At least I have a seat. But you know, just don't feel like you have to do things, because one thing that was very important in A Sip of Paradise Garden was for me to not have a super square structured situation. We used a lot of the when we unearthed the land, when we were going through the whole thing, there were so many things we found. We found cinder blocks, we found stone, we found brick, and wood. So we took a lot of those materials we found and we refurbished them. So we build plots that aren't necessarily perfectly 4x6 cedar, all the things that people suggest. We used what we had, because again, we were in the beginning of the thing. We didn't have much money, so we wanted to use as much as we had already before we started asking and begging for money. But it was really cool that people dug into their creativity and found all these really cool things and put together these pieces. And it was really, really great. But You see, and there's no wrong way to build your plot. It's yours,
It's really nice.
It's
I
like
have a white
decorating your
picket
room.
fence. One of mine has a white picket fence.
Yes, Tiffy's second one has a white picket fence, which is so cute.
Well, and
It's so adorable.
I think it's so, at least for me, like it's so nice to hear like someone who has two people who have successfully grown many things be like, look, like it doesn't have to be this like thing that you see in a gardening magazine when you start. If you've got enough bricks to make a pizza slice, grow something in a pizza slice. If you got a Home Depot bucket, put a tomato in there.
Put it in there. Do it. Do it.
But no, I love that advice because I think a lot of times, like, I know for me, if I'm going to start doing something, I'm like, okay, well, the reason I wanted to start doing this is because I saw this thing and it looked this way or it felt this way or it was structured this way. So like now I have to do like all of this to get this together to make it like that thing. And I'm sure other people probably are guilty of that. If not, welcome to my brain, everyone. But like, so much of that can keep you from doing the thing or kind of take the joy out of doing the thing. Because it's like, oh, I just made someone else's thing again. So that's cool. They had already done it. I'm not really sure why I replicated it. But yeah, so find what works for you. Use whatever you got or whatever seems good to you, whatever fits in your space. You don't need a rectangle box to grow a plant.
You don't.
Right from Keyatta Mincey Parker's mouth. So you know it's true. All right. So what do we have next? I feel like this is going to be more garnish stuff.
Garnish game.
Ooh, yes.
Okay.
Good one.
This is just in life general, but also in the garnish game. So relax, reuse, repurpose.
Relax for late release.
I actually put that first, but then I was like, they're not going to understand.
Wasn't that a great episode?
Different worlds.
That's such a great episode.
Nice, amazing show. I did actually put relax for late release. So instead, I use reuse, repurpose because that's what we're doing. Chill out. You cannot control gardening. You unfortunately are not Mother Nature. She's a beast. You don't want to mess with her. She has her own time. She has her moods, and you just have to go with it. Get a chance to understand nature herself, and you will understand how your plot or your planning has gone. Of course, nurturing, talking to it, it's a real thing. I talk to all my plants. I talk to the ground because what's wrong with the conversation?
Yeah, I mean,
I've seen her. She does.
We're all here together. Might as well talk about it, you know?
We do it. We have other members that put their Bluetooth in their plot and play music. Like, relax, chill out, let your space be your space. And reuse the things that you can or cannot. So let's say some things are singeing off because of the sun, or maybe some things aren't growing and you're only seeing leaves. Don't worry, something will happen. Just do not worry. Things can go bad. When things go bad, you just toss them. You toss them into compost. You toss them into compost, and you toss them into compost.
Don't forget compost.
You don't. Yeah, you have to compost. If it's brown, remember there's going to be a circle of life. It'll be
compost. Sounds like another great option for this. You know.
So good. The garden has, a Sip of Paradise has a beautiful 3-compartment compost. That's a whole nother ball game. That when things pass, you have a nice burial ground so that they can go into a good space. So you don't feel so separated, and you understand that it will be reused for future growth. Leftovers can be also used. So let's flip that vibe, and let's say something like, so I grew parsley last year. I love savory things. And my parsley was insane. It was like a big afro. It was just the biggest thing on my plot. And so I'm thinking, what am I going to do with it besides chop it and, dehydrate it and cook with it? But you can do other things. Of course, we're resourceful. We're bartenders. We're good people. We cook and we drink. So get into your zones of shrubs, syrups, salts. Make it work, because sugar, water, salt and water,
oil, vinegar,
oil and water, like all these things really make some of the things that you've grown into its space even happier outside of the cocktail. So,
and it's still giving to you.
And it's still present.
It's still giving to you.
And
it's going to keep giving to you.
What Tiffanie said earlier about your glass jars allowing you to see through, you can see when things are like starting to get past their prime maybe, and then be like, okay, well, now I have this thing and it's maybe looking a little too sad to be a garnish anymore, but oil and, shrubs and vinegar, like all these things, there's so many things you can still do with it. But if you see it earlier because of the glass, then you can use it to do those things instead of like opening some plastic container and being like, okay, no one can consume this in any form.
Yeah, and you can even start off by, when you're in your plot, your garden, your windowsill, taking that and then dividing it in 3, saying this is going to be something sweet, this will be something savory, and this will go into something fresh. Because even sometimes my heart gets broken when I see fresh in my glass, and I'm like, what do I do? And then I just eat it, because you can do that. You can totally chew on the ice. You drink in a cocktail. Let's chew the garnish.
Yeah.
Use it. You do repurpose every single thing, because you want to see everything go from the ground all the way through, and everything is edible that you're growing.
I love that. All right, so what do we got next? If you guys see me like looking away from the screen, it's because there may or may not be a tornado outside. So I'm not uninterested. I'm just trying to keep an eye on this weather.
It's supposed to be coming this way too.
Yeah,
you're next door to us. It's gray here. It's coming this way. So
it's the whole like April showers thing in the South is a different vibe.
They don't get it. They don't get it.
It is a whole different thing. But Keyatta, I love this, and I love that you talk about this so much. So I'm gonna let you talk about it, and then I just want to say I appreciate it, because sometimes it's nice to be reminded that things can just be for you.
And that is okay. That's something I've been learning as well. Never lose sight of why you did this, because again, all the voices, all the noise, social media, your neighbor, your friend, your such and such, don't forget why you did this, and even if it was something as selfish as, I want to grow my own herbs because I want to make better cocktails. I want to grow my own herbs because I'm vegan and I want to feed my family. I want to grow my own herbs because it feels good for me to grow stuff and give it to others. Don't forget why you did this. This is your time. Nobody can take this from you, especially now when some of us are working and some of us are not. Don't forget the jewel and the reason why you did this. That is so important. I will say that now looking at my feet, I probably should have picked a better picture, but you know what? I don't care, because again, there are times where I sit right there and I'm very grateful and happy on why I chose to do this and chose to keep going with this. Anything, Tiffany?
Yeah, all of that. I'm all about the feel. So that's don't lose sight. I mean, again, things will go away. Things will blow away. Hopefully Brittany didn't blow away in a tornado.
Oh no.
But never lose sight why you started, for sure. I mean, there's 4 seasons in the year, depending on where you live. Don't give up. Don't think you're a murderer instantly, that something didn't grow, you can't do it. Just get back into it, because sometimes even the effort is enough peace of mind.
Yeah. And I just think it's something too that people lose sight of, especially when people are going through different things. You feel like you have to always do for others, and it's okay every now and then to do something for yourself. It's perfectly fine. I feel like everybody's just been going and going and going and going, and sometimes you just need to take a moment and be like, you know what? Yeah, it's mine.
Yeah, I did that. I did that.
Did
we lose Brittany?
She needed to step away, but we can keep going. Let's do it.
Let's keep rocking. I just want to keep our friend out of the tornado.
Yeah.
I don't want her to get blown away to Oz.
So let's talk about this. Well, and hopefully everything's gonna be fine by Brittany. Fingers extra crossed. Well, let's talk about this next part.
So this is all the energy that needs to go into the garden. Of course, I told you about Mother Nature. She's going to do what she's going to do. And you're going to do what you need to do, but just remain approachable and make it fun. We were honored to have a fun herb and vegetable that we both love, cucumber and mint, that does a lot of things. So I just wanted to give some really fun facts about the botanicals that we have, because whatever you're working with, it's great to know the fun facts about them, maybe when they came from the past or what they can be, where they can go into the future. Like knowing if things can be pickled, knowing if things can even make a great salt, or if you're going to be the first to make a salt or a shrub. So cucumber and mint, they're recognized for just, top things. You see it green, and that's it. You know it for its bright greenness, and of course its aroma. You can spot out the smell of cucumber anywhere. The aromatherapy of it, the mint, and mint, you just know that instantly. There's one other herb or spice that you can recognize instantly, and that's cinnamon. You know it instantly. No one has a weird thought like, is that cucumber? Like, no, that's all the way it. There are 600 different varieties of mint, tons. And so think about that when you're trying to grow a different basil or a different parsley or any of your favorite fruits, herbs, or flowers, and think about the different species and then the research to see how that would grow in your area. Cucumbers, just on topic of it, it's not a fruit, it is a vegetable, and it's tasty. That means with a vegetable, you can do all the things. If anything growing has baby seeds in it, that means it's going to live for quite some time because it has a great cycle. It is an ancient vegetable, that meaning that it can be used again to the seed, all the way to the meat of it, and the skins can be used as Keyatta's cocktail was presented in this great section. And cucumbers are filled with vitamin K. So if we are growing things in the garden, friends, everything that we're growing is great with nutrition. So if you want to focus on nutrition, go for it. It doesn't have to always be a cocktail. We definitely are focused on the mocktail. And so think about growing things that have special vitamins, multivitamins, and give us a great nutrition factor. Cucumbers are also 90% water. So it just goes in to say that we can grow things that are not only tasty, but also very balanced to our drink and our garnish.
In ourselves.
Both mint and cucumbers make very playful garnishes, as you saw in Keyatta's cocktail. It's like she's got these beautiful ribbons that go in. We're so used to seeing maybe a cube or a chip or something, a spear or something pickled. But get into it. Have some fun. Cucumber and mint do the same thing. I love the mint salt mint salt and a mint sugar. When I worked on the bar, you just basically just pulverize the two together, and it's just a great spice agent to your cocktail or a rim. Of course, syrups and shrubs, and it just looks gorgeous on a cocktail. It tickles really great. We know the oils get down, so that's always like a natural, good, fun one for me.
Look at that thing; it's gorgeous.
Isn't she pretty?
You know, she did her thing, and I was really happy to do something. And again, because most people are home, I used a spiralizer that I had at home, and just kind of made some really fun shapes. And even going back to the different varietals, there's we grow several in the garden. We have mountain mint, which is amazing. We actually got that varietal from our local forager, Robbie. We also have spearmint. We have winter mint growing in the garden. We have lemon balm, which is, a parody. And last year, Tiffanie and I actually grew yellow cucumbers, which was crazy to me because I didn't realize that cucumbers came in other colors. And they tasted really great as pickles because, you know what? I threw them in some vinegar and I hooked it up. So just cucumber and mint's a classic combination. Like, it's classic. It goes together like peanut butter and jelly, ham and cheese, all these different things that are classic. And there's no reason why you can't enjoy this for what it is. And it's so great. But, here's my cocktail. Yay.
It's so pretty. And it's a snack.
Yes. Feel free to eat your garnish. But, it's one of the best parts of the whole thing. And we've been talking about this too. The best part of my cocktail is the garnish. I love the spirit. I love the glass. The garnish is like the icing on the cake for me. That is the best part because I feel like you took care to fluff that thing up and put it in that glass and give it to me. I know you care about me when you took your time. And even if you see us do stuff together or make cocktails, we take an extra second to fluff that thing out, make sure it's sitting right because it has to be perfect because we are blessing you with this beautiful thing and you are blessing us with enjoying it and smiling. That's the best part of our job, I think.
And with the cucumber, I love, there's that like beautiful vegetal smell, like flavor you get from cucumber that is, I think, kind of like delicate and nice, but also like very present. And that's so enjoyable, especially like when you get that and that mint right in front of you.
Yes, shouts out to being present.
Shouts out to that. And it's a snack. Twofer. Yes. I love my twofers.
Do we have
Tiffany,
the
you want to
next
see her drink?
slide? I was gonna say,
Yeah,
yeah. Let me see what I did.
Wow.
Oh, there she goes.
gorgeous.
Well,
Sexy.
if those that know me or haven't known me, or getting to know me, I'm all about the feelings. I'm all about the vibe of it all. We have multiple senses, and of course, we've been taught in the hospitality industry that we eat with our eyes, then it connects with our nose. Taste, feeling if we can feel it, hold it, and then of course taste it to solidify it. This is my feeling on botany. Botany has been around the world for centuries in multiple cultures. And when you see something that is that gorgeous, like something that's grown from the ground, cucumber, mint, lavender, any kind of flower, you see it and you're just like, I want to be with it. I want to feel that. It just expresses so much. Not only does it express the fun of your drink, but expresses how much you've cared for it before it got there. And so just American cocktails with even the talks of, the tulips and things like that, and Black bartenders creating cocktails and garnishing with the mint. It's all about being flamboyant with your garnish, and being flamboyant also showed how flamboyant you were with your garden. Like, this is what I do in my garden, and now it's in your glass. So I chose to do something that looked inviting. So my garnish was tackled with a lot of lavender, some mint, and I just kind of just wrapped it all in together so you can get that bright yet soft notes of the herbs all wrapped together to go with the mint cucumber, and just really bring everything into fruition as its flavor and taste come to life with the feelings.
All of the feelings.
So pretty.
Thank you.
Again, just like getting into a drink where there's like so much aroma happening, like right on the nose there. Wonderful, truly wonderful.
It matches a little cocktail perfume, a little cocktail jewelry, little something on the cocktail to make it all tie in together.
Exactly.
That's the fun part about garnishing a great spritz.
I know.
Definitely.
We were even talking about this. There's this whole movement for non-garnish, and Tiffy has a little history on that. But I feel like that garnish is just that last little present. Like, here you go. I'm doing this for you. I enjoy doing this and serving you with this, and that little kiss for me. But tell them about what you were telling me a few minutes ago.
Oh, well, there was a moment of non-garnishing, but definitely before the spritz. But non-garnishing was just a thing. For one, it didn't look presenting, and I don't think it was really understood from the consumer side if they saw this floating fruit or herb. I study a lot on a lot of the historical cocktails, and you never see garnished with. You just never really see it as often. It was just all about the flavor, the balance, maybe how long they shook it. And so seeing garnishes coming in after Prohibition, and some of the cocktail books, not all of them, just garnishing wasn't a major thing. When it comes to the spritz, you have to garnish. Like, you must garnish. And when you think about what we're already growing from the ground, and as we said from the beginning of this presentation, it's gone from the ground. You saw it become all it could be. Why don't you give it a showcase and let it be on top, and give you the fills.
All of the fills.
All of the fills.
Truly. And I mean, I think people like also make choices about not garnishing for like other reasons, right? Like concern for the environment and being able to use all of something. So being like sparse with it, and then making the choices of which drink you're definitely going to garnish. This is one you're definitely going to.
And I can understand that, especially even from a business perspective. It may not financially make sense to do certain things, but I think we have been able to balance. Like, certain cocktails don't necessarily need a garnish. But for me personally, I like to do that last decoration. That's just me. That's like adding the little something. But again, sometimes the cocktail speaks for itself, and it may not necessarily need anything more. Sometimes you got to know how to edit yourself. And that's, I think, a lot of things some bartenders struggle with. You're kind of down to the last details of that cocktail. What else does this need? I think it's missing something. And sometimes they may not necessarily need that. But for the cocktails and the things that do, why not have that beautiful garnish? And why not slap that mint and get that expression? Because again, all of your senses are connected. You see with your eyes, you smell, you taste, and then how you feel when you take that first sip. The whole thing is so romantic and beautiful. It's an experience. And I know that's one thing we have always been on the same page about, is providing that experience for the people that are in front of us, and just giving them the feeling that we feel when we came up with this for you. You know, we just want people to feel as wonderful and as great as they do when you're taking a sip, when you're seeing this drink, like you did this for me. Yeah, you deserve it. You're worth it. You're worthy. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Absolutely.
It's great.
So we've had like some great feedback from folks watching, which is
Yay.
fantastic. They're loving this. But you guys are also going to have a conversation with everyone, right? So let me pull that up. So this session that's coming up on, I guess on this coming Sunday, right?
This Sunday.
Yeah, that should be really fun on Instagram, which will be really cool. And you'll be answering all the questions there. So we'll have.
I know. Ask me anything.
Yeah, Sunday Fun Day. If you know us, come on. You already know it's going to be Sunday Fun Day. We're open to answering any questions. I will be wherever I'm going to be. And Keyatta will be in the garden. I'll actually be. So we will not be together.
Shopping. Yeah, we're going to be shopping that day to get some stuff for the grounds and different stuff, making sure that it's keep. So, you know, I'll be in the garden walking around. But yes, ask me anything.
Anything pertaining to cocktails, that is.
So
if you stray a little bit, it's fine. I don't mind.
But if you drop in your questions here, and then also if you join live and ask questions, then we can cover all that stuff, and we'll pull all those questions together. So it'll be an awesome conversation.
Come holler at us. Come give us some smiles and some hearts. We both love emojis, and we just can't wait to see you on a Sunday in your homes on your phone and share a little bit more about what we love about cocktails and grass to glass.
Love this. So just before we finish up, I just wanted to talk a little bit about where people can find you other than this live session. And actually, maybe first let's start with the garden.
Okay.
Wonderful place. That follow you guys there, right?
Yes, that is it. And if you happen to live in Atlanta or whatever, just, pull up on us. We're in East Atlanta Village, pull up on us, walk by, and you'll probably see people in there, putting stuff in the ground or reading books or chilling. Or if you catch Tiffanie tends to meditate in there. She has a famous artist, his his meditation situation, which is aggressively great. Or you might catch her burning sage in there. She does that every now and then. I don't think she knows that I know, but every now and then she'll come through and she'll just pull up and she'll burn sage real quick to get all the spirits up out of there. And then she'll leave, which is great. But yeah, get the squirrels out of there. Oh, squirrels are the worst. But I'm sure y'all have questions about how to deal with squirrels and all this other stuff. But yeah, that's how you can find
the non-gardening side. I'm like, squirrels are adorable. What do you mean?
Yeah, they're great until they eat your harvest.
They are not. They eat your strawberries.
Cute, but they eat
your strawberries.
I respect this.
Strawberries. They suck.
That's rude.
Rude.
You're just throwing a hustle.
Well, this is going to be an amazing conversation. I'm very excited for that. But also, I just want to make sure that people also know where to follow the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I'm the drinking coach. Hey.
Put me in, coach.
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh, look at that.
Talk to you
there.
there.
Coach. I'm ready. I'm ready, coach. Put me in. Put me in.
Her.
Put me in.
And that means all of the things I love to
that's
talk
me
about.
too.
Oh, that's you. Look.
Pictures and cocktails.
That's you. Pictures and cocktails. Find us. Chat with us. Ask questions. We love questions. Get to know us a little bit more. We're both pretty approachable.
We're pretty weird
and available.
Very cool.
Very weird. You're weird too.
All of these things.
Very, very weird.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm so glad everyone got to join us for this conversation.
Yay!
Every time we talk about y'all's garden, it is so good, and connecting the garden to the drink, which is exactly what we got to do today. So just a little bit of housekeeping for everyone involved. So for conversations like this one, we're here on Facebook and on YouTube, simulcast, so you can show up to either one. So that's always a fun time to visit us here. If you want to know when things like this are coming up, you can follow our newsletter. If you join our newsletter, we try to be like not monsters about sending you information. We want to share fun.
It's just enough. They send just enough.
Yeah, and then we're also on Instagram, and we have great conversations like this one all the time, and we want you to know about them. Of course, we're all making sure that Brittany is safe at home.
I know. Somebody text her,
she
please.
messaged us, so we know she's okay. But
Okay.
there's also no power, so you know.
Oh no.
But yeah, we'll make sure to put in a comment here so people know that everything is good. Once we have that info. So yeah, thanks so much for joining us, and we're looking forward to Sunday, which is going to be a really fun time.
Yes. Thanks so
Appreciate
much,
the two of you.
friends. We'll see you Sunday.
And thanks for everyone for watching. Have a really good one.
Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.